to Founder. Hello, everybody. I would like to welcome you to the second webinar hosted by FounderPad. During the previous week, we hosted HubSpot, and it was a great joy for us. And today, we have the pleasure of hosting Jeremy from Zendesk, who is the partnership programs manager there. And today, we will be talking about the latest trends in customer experience and why that matters for your startup. So welcome, Jeremy.
Hey, how you doing? Thanks for having me. Absolute pleasure.
All good. All good. How are you?
Really good. Really good. I'm excited to deliver this. I'm also looking forward to helping the founders just go out and do something with the insights that you get from this. And I think that's really important, is that don't just sit there and listen. Don't just listen in, take notes, and then I'd love to hear what actions you're going to take off the back of what we're just about to talk about.
Yeah. And thank you for coming here and doing this event. And can you please introduce yourself to our audience for a little bit?
Yeah, of course, no problem. So my name is Jeremy Ambrose. I'm based in the UK. My background is startups. So I co-founded an accelerator in the UK called Entrepreneurial Spark. In 2018, we actually sold that accelerator to a huge bank, NatWest, RBS. And then we went private with that accelerator and helped. We went more global. So we were helping founders globally across the world to scale their efforts and their businesses. More recently, we've been doing the accelerator for the UK Space Agency. I mean, some of those, I can see rockets coming through already on the comments, but it was absolutely amazing working with those founders and seeing what they were up to and trying to get into space with their business. So more latterly jumped over to Zendesk. Now I wear two hats, so non-operating director of Entrepreneurial Spark. And obviously I have my Zendesk hat on today, talking about the CX trends. I work with partnerships with accelerators, VC houses, and all sorts. So many hats, very, very ready to bring you all of the trends that we found from a great study that we did from 2014 onwards. And just give you a bit of insight and some takeaways to go and help you with. So yeah, that's a bit about background on me.
Nice.
Looking forward to it.
What a great career. So why don't we just jump into the presentation, and I'm sure it will be very insightful for all of our audience.
No problem at all. Thanks so much.
The floor is yours.
Thank you. Yeah. I want to kind of open up by prefacing this with the fact that, we're going to look at how unicorns did things differently as an overview, right? So the trends are, you can kind of go on your accelerated journey from on this kind of a line, or maybe this kind of a line. But what we really want to do is get right up there to balance your CX development on a trajectory and in a growth path that's going to help you to grow like a unicorn. So there's a few different facts and stats in here that will help you. As I said before, make sure we are really taking notes on this stuff. And what actions are you going to take off the back of it? I'd love to hear as we go in the comments, any questions as well. I will try and take as many questions as possible and answer them during the stream, if not at the end of the stream. So please, please, please do ask questions as we go. I think we've all seen this journey, right? For a startup's journey, and this is no different for any stage of the journey. We're bootstrapping, we're building a product, we're trying to get out there and do something, find some customers, get somebody to buy it, raise some capital maybe along the way to really boost our growth. Let's achieve that hockey stick growth and get those curves going, really pointing upwards, and then become a unicorn and an IPO, right? It sounds so easy to do. But in reality, the journey's a little bit more like this, right? It's not a flat line. It's not a hockey stick. we start up with a load of enthusiasm, reality sets in, we start experimenting, we pivot, and then we actually get a customer and we're really, really happy. And then suddenly we hit this growth phase of scale, right? And that scale point is really, really important. And we're going to go into a number of avenues that you can take to make sure that scale graph is going upwards. The problem is when we're really, really, really in the business, and I like to talk about it as kind of, right, we need to get out of the business to work on it, okay? So stop working in the business so that you can work on the business. And that is the founder's priority when building out a startup. The problem is in all of this, the customer gets lost. We're too busy doing things. We're too busy in the business and not on it. So I'm going to give you a few pointers along the way to really kind of focus back in on that customer. Make sure you're keeping them in your grasp, making sure they keep on buying, retain them, and grow with them. It's about making the customers the priority for you. And I guess a quick question to everybody, something for you to think about now. How do you prioritize your customers? How often do you listen to them? How often do you speak to them? How often do you have team talks around your customers and what they're saying and doing? Because I would say it's fundamental to any strategy of growth. Why CX? Why are we talking about CX? Customer experience. Why are we talking about this and why should it matter to startups? Big top things coming out of all of the studies that we've done. It promotes long-term customer retention. It keeps your customers with you. It establishes brand trust in the market because if you can retain customers, they're going to be talking about you out there in a great manner. And I think, what is it? If people have a bad experience, they'll tell 20 people. If they have a good experience, they'll tell 5. So, So let's get them doing the 5 instead of telling everybody bad things about the 20. Okay. So establishing brand trust in the market. It can shape your product roadmap through feedback. And I would say that's an absolutely essential part of customer experience and listening to your customers. Is it can really, and it should be the first pointer in any development of your roadmap. Now, don't get me wrong, do not get me wrong. If Henry Ford obviously said, he had a fantastic quote. If he'd have asked his customers what they wanted, they would have said faster horses. And of course, the car would never have been invented. So there are limits to this, but it's a real integral part in shaping your product roadmap. So listen to your customers. It identifies cross-sell opportunities. I want to come into that a bit later with a couple of examples that I've pulled out, because absolutely, when we're turning our customer service center into a profit center, we've got to look for those cross-sell opportunities, the upsell opportunities, while having those key interactions with the customer. And it can help with recruitment and team culture. Many of the startups and many of the growth businesses and the unicorns that we've spoken to actually point to their customer experience software, customer experience journey, as one of the main reasons why they were able to retain and get talent into their business. So a number of different areas why CX should matter to you. Let's get into it. This is CX trends. I mean, we're now at about 5,000. So this is just an ongoing piece of work. We're now at about 5,000, but this is all since 2014. Those businesses come from a variety of different areas. It's a great distribution across the kind of the startup sample. So majority, 28% coming in with some kind of software involved in their business. Financial services, e-commerce, healthcare, manufacturing, entertainment. So you can read that. So it's a good cross-section of people using and developing their CX that was actually put into this study. One of the main things that has come out of this, and this has been since 2014, there's a 70% higher cost of acquisition of a customer. It's costing you as a startup 70% more now than it did in 2014 to achieve or to attain one customer, which is absolutely crazy. it's costing you more money to just get one customer. And that's both in B2B and direct to customer. And that growth trajectory of that line continues into 2022. And when we publish our results, already the trends are looking up towards 75 to 80% more than back in 2014. The other major thing that came out of this is that customers have a 60 to 80% lower product value. They are valuing your product 60 to 80% less than back in the day. Why is that? There's got to be some reasons behind it. Competition plays into that. Competition plays into it. There's more people doing what you're trying to do. There's blurred lines between innovation and iteration now. And it's finding that people value different things and different values from your organization. It's up to you to figure out the value that you really, really deliver to any customer and zoom in on it to really show them, to help them understand what the value of your product or service is. The willingness for them has declined to pay. There's so many freebies out there. The freemium models are vast. So they can get the core features of certain things for free, and they're quite happy with that because it's solving part of their need. Maybe they don't want to pay for the full need to be solved. But there's so many people out there trying to play in your space and play in the world of business and solve customers' needs that the consumer willingness to pay has declined by over 65%. This is all really bad news. Customers are becoming harder to please. But there's light at the end of the tunnel, and I'm going to give you a few pointers as to how you can really kind of build up this, build up your retention, build up your acquisition, and also make sure that your customers are having a fantastic journey from before interacting with you, interacting with other people who have interacted with you, into interacting with you, working with you, going through the customer and coming out the other side and delivering value to them. Building a business has two factors when it comes to customers, right? We need to acquire more customers on the one hand, and then we also need to retain them. Interesting part of the study that we did was that if you improve each side by 1%, so if you were to improve acquisition by 1%, or if you were to improve retention by 1%, what do you think that had? What was the effect on the bottom line profit and revenue? You're probably all thinking, I don't know. I don't know. Actually, if we increase acquisition by 1%, so if we get a 1% more customers, or if we retain by 1% or more, it's a 3.97x multiple if we actually do 1% more in the retention on your bottom line. What I don't want to say here is let's forget about going to get customers, new customers. That's not the case. But you can see that to increase that bottom line, to turn your customer service center into a profit center, let's really focus in on retaining customers that we already have, listening to them, letting it help our development roadmap, letting it help our recruitment strategy, and all of those things that we just talked about. It all comes from retention. Retention leads to this: a greater lifetime value of any customer that you have. A greater lifetime value leads to a greater NPS, Net Promoter Score. People are out there talking about you in a better light. They're working with you consistently. They're happy with you because that lifetime value that you're getting from them means that they're happy. And guess what? As we said before, that leads to a greater profit. So focusing on the retention of those customers does lead you into better profit. Another interesting insight, and this one's taken from Forbes. So this wasn't from the Zendesk CX Trend study, but this was taken from Forbes, where they looked at what people value most in great customer experience or good customer experience, right? There's some interesting things in there because the world is full of automation right now. The world is all about taking a process and automating it. So we have nothing to do with it. But look at that. Look at the far side. 27% want empathetic people to talk to and to hear them when interacting with a company. Of course, quick and seamless is always going to be the driver, the value that drives people's customers' interactions. If you've got a problem with somebody, if you've got a problem with an organization, you want to get in, get out, get yourself solved, get your problem fixed and out as quick as you can and get back to whatever you were doing. Time is precious. We're an on-demand generation right now. We should be able to click a few buttons and we're good. So yeah, absolutely quick and seamless, but 27%, I thought that was quite staggering, that people want an empathetic approach from the people they're talking to in a quick and seamless manner. Where's the empathy in your customer experience? Have you got people dedicated to this? If you're interacting with people and customers in a direct way through automations, where's the empathy within the automations? Interesting question. Personalization at 9%, looking at making sure that people know that they're wanted and they feel welcome, however they're being interacted with. You know, you're using their name, you're using insight into them that they so they makes them feel welcome. And also the omni-channel approach. What do I mean by an omni-channel approach? It's a real bugbear of mine. I hate it. I hate it when I'll be on a chat bot somewhere onto somebody complaining or trying to fix something, and then everything shuts down, and I lose the chat history. I lose my place in the queue, or something happens. I have to leave and go out the door. An omni-channel approach means that actually I can pick that conversation up through WhatsApp. I can pick it up through the retention of all that data and information on that web page, even if I close it. I can get you how I want to get you, how I want to talk to you, either WhatsApp, or whether it be Facebook Messenger or Meta Messenger nowadays. Any application of communication, I should be able to interact with you in a way that I want to. So that omni-channel approach, 14% of the people surveyed value that when in a good customer experience. Let's get into the trends within those within those unicorns and those high growth businesses. Here's a thing for you. So in the high growth, those startups that are in a high growth trajectory are 33% more likely to add a support function into their organization within the first year. And when we talk about the first year, that's not the first year of trade. This is your first year post-investment, okay? So post-investment, once you've got that seed round, once you've got that the money in the door, 33% are more likely to add support in the first year. And that is if you're a growth business. You want to get on that growth line, add some support in. What do I mean by support? Yeah, people are able to interact with you, get help in a way that they can fix their problems and get out quickly. Whether you're a retail business, e-commerce, whether you're a service provider, people still have interaction problems and issues with the product or service. And that's normal. But you need to add some support in there so people can speak to you. And we talked about that, empathy, getting in and out, all of that quick and seamless stuff in an omni-channel approach. 30% more likely to add that in the first year. Also 33% more likely to add an omni-channel in the second year. If you're a growth business and you're on the trajectory to becoming a unicorn, 33% are more likely to add that omni-channel support by year 2. Self-service is a really, really interesting one. Self-service can kind of be developed with the insight that you gain from all those customer interactions that you've had from the beginning of from the inception of one customer. When you're going 0 to 1, you're gathering data on why that person actually bought from you. After you've got 1 to 100, 1 to 1,000, 1 to wherever you are, where you might be sat right now, you have a rich source of data that allows you to build up those frequently asked questions. What are people interacting you with? Why are they interacting you? What problems do they have? Because I am almost 100% sure that if you really add in some self-service content, you could decrease the interactions that you have with your customers, which then allows you to go and focus on building that business, right? So if you can add in self-service, and I'm talking about somebody asks in a chat function or over email or whatever that might be, about returning an item. Let's discuss it from a retail point of view. Like discussing returning an item. Well, you've probably had a number of people ask to return an item before. So what that should automatically do is then send you down a path to give you all the information you need to make sure they can send that item back in a fast and efficient manner. And you don't have to even have a conversation with this person. It's self-service content. It's frequently asked questions and insight gathered from all of those data points that you're gathering in any format from all the customers that you've interacted with. 27% more likely, if you're on a growth trajectory, to add self-service content in 24 months. We'll break that down in a bit about how many articles, how many things you need on there. But yeah, 27% more likely. So let's have a look at that a little bit more. Get set up for success. Here's where you should aim. So growth and early stage, we're talking pre-seed, seed, series A, all of this area. So timing and tools. Time is very important for your audience. We've just seen it before there, right? Customers want to be up and running with your products and services as quickly as possible. So time to value is really important. That's what we call it in CX world, but also in any kind of startup context. Time to value needs to be as quick as possible. When should you add support to your platform? When should you add support? Based on the behavior of those really fast growers, it's 9 to 10 months after raising funding. Live channels. What live channels and when? Some kind of chatbot in the first 12 months. Some kind of messaging service, first 14 months. And phone interactions within the first 17 months. And there's some absolutely amazing tools out there that you can use. And I'm sure through Hilo, you could obviously get some great offers on a lot of those products and services, which can really help you ramp up your customer experience. So a few different areas. So that's all after funding. What about that help center that we were talking about? You know, that resource, those resources, how many articles of support? After 6 months, there should be around 27. You should have gathered enough data to put in at least 27 articles of support, which can help your customer to automate their help themselves. It's that self-content. They're picking up bits off the shelf to go and help themselves, so they don't have to interact with you. Quick and seamless, don't forget. 2 keywords. After a year, 41, 18 months, 51. All of this is great insight, which is going to lead you to help you grow your product roadmap, to serve your customers in a unique and better way than your competitors. What about apps and integrations? So when we looked at these growth businesses, were they adding things in from a business context? Were they helping themselves within their organization? Yeah, sure. So those that were on a growth journey and on that high trajectory added their first app within 1 month. What do I mean by an app? Yeah, any kind of automation or self-service or business app that's going to help your customer move through their customer journey and out the other side. After 6 months, two apps, 3 after a year, and after 18 months, 4 apps. Those top apps that were coming in at any given point, ones that you use probably more often than not. So the big ones were Slack, Jira, time tracking, and user data trackers, right? Why those kind of apps? Once a customer interaction comes in, you have to deal with it. You know, so let's put the self-help to one side for a second. Once that interaction comes in any way you have it right now, it might be an email, it might be, I don't know how you interact with your customers, but that has to go somewhere. So the communication has to continue within your organization, within your team, as soon as that information comes in. If you can plug in to your customer support function those apps, then it helps with that customer interaction and being able to track the time that it takes to interact with that customer. But it also, if you're trying to track that information and track that customer through their journey, the user data is going to be really, really, really important for you to then move forward. And again, plan out that growth journey for yourself in your business. Sequencing, 10-month Jira, 13-month knowledge gap to user data. You can see that. But we've talked about these people on a growth journey and a high growth journey. But everything that I've just told you right now, unicorns did everything earlier. Let's just take a pause there, because, we might be post-investment. We might be down the track already, right? And thinking to ourselves, yikes, I need to go back and do some things here. Let's not do it all at once. Let's pick out a key area that we can add in and help ourselves with to develop our CX, to develop our profit center that comes off the back of it. So if you're thinking you haven't done all this yet, don't worry. Let's start tomorrow with something that's going to be important to you. And let's go into a few different examples of how other people did it, how they did it, and why they did it too, because you might have experienced a few of these things. The interesting thing, and this is the time scale that we're going to look at. So if you're between 0 and 100 customers, so 0 to 100 customers, you should be talking to everybody using your product, right? You have to be learning what makes your customers happy, what makes them sad, what makes them angry, but also taking all that information, focusing on it, and amplifying it within your team. It's not one person's job to look after a customer. It's the whole organization. And when I talk about that, the finance team need to make decisions. And those decisions should be based on customer interactions. Your development team need to be focusing in on what matters to customers. So if there's one person holding on to all that information right now, you need to break that mold, and you need to make sure everybody is focused in on that. So amplify the voice of your users internally in your organization, and meet every week to discuss what's happening with customers. If there's one thing you can take from this presentation or this talk, then all you need to do is set aside an hour a week. Let's go half an hour to begin with, right? And that should be sacrosanct time to work on what customers are saying, what customers are feeling. Just gives you that internal time to really focus in on that, right? So go and put it in your diaries immediately. Okay, so Slack are one of our biggest customers. We grew up with Slack over in Silicon Valley, so we've studied them, we've watched them, and they provided a support function in their private meta mode back in 2013. Beta mode, sorry, not meta. I've read a question on the far side. Providing support. So they provided support from the beginning, right at the beginning, really early on. So what they thought was, well, actually, they're able to then take that function and share the ticket across whoever it's supposed to go to. If it's a finance question, it goes to the finance team. If it's a technical question, technical team. If it's a personnel problem, a ticketing problem where people need to get other members of their team onto Slack, goes to the members team. But they were able to share that duty across a number of their organization. Everybody was focusing in on those things that mattered the most to the customer. It helped them grow. It built great relationships between them and their customer, and look where they are now. What about 100 to 1,000 customers? From the trends that we've seen, you should be really preparing for scale when you're at 100 to 1,000 customers, depending on the size of each customer, for sure. Don't get me wrong. If you've got Amazon as your key customer, then you probably need to be doing this right now. Okay, so get your customer conversations connected regardless of where they start. We talked about that omni-channel approach, right? So if I interact with you through WhatsApp, and then 2 weeks later I come in with the same details and I interact with you via email, they should be connected. So you can start looking at trends. You can look at my history. You can look at my everything that I've had in the way of interaction with your organization. We should be able to aggregate all that together. There are 100 to 1,000 customers, should be preparing for scale with great connected customer conversations. Here, you should be thinking about really investing in your resources to build up the help center. And that help center may look like other tools, other things that can help people solve their problems when they're coming to you, upselling. And this is where I want to just kind of check out a couple of examples of all these kind of connected conversations, history, and how people have done it differently. If I take the example, and this is an older example, but Target in the US did this really well. And they did it a little bit too well, if you ask me. So what they were able to do was aggregate all of the interactions that they had with customers and their buying habits. They were then able to target people with coupons or offers for their buying habits because they were able to store those. They got so good at it, they got to a point where they were sending pregnant ladies, pregnant women, offers for Pampers, for nappies, for all of the baby products before they'd even announced it to the father or to the family. So it got them into a bit of hot water, but they were on it. They were on it. They were using the data from those connected conversations to all of those buying habits to then upsell them the things that they needed or they might need in the future. That's where you're really turning that customer service center into a profit center by recommending products, recommending services. And Delta do it really well, Delta Airlines. I was giving the example actually the other day because I was on with another VC and he was saying, it's amazing. I got to the front desk of, I always upgrade with the 24-hour before offer. So this director was saying, I fly with Delta a lot and I always get a great offer. The day before, 24 hours. Why does he get sent that offer? Because he's done it 5 times before and Delta know that. So what Delta are doing now is sending him the offer earlier to make sure he upgrades earlier. Clever. But that all comes from those connected conversations, understanding the history of a customer to then resell something to them. Cool. And number 3 there, start connecting your stack of critical business applications. So make sure that everything's talking to each other. You might have the HubSpot. I know you've talked about HubSpot before. So HubSpot talking to your Slack, talking to your customer service center, talking to your, there's loads of different, your MailChimp, for instance. But everything needs to be connected. So that critical stack of customer interactions and customer support needs to be connected for sure. Limebike were huge with this. They went big because practically overnight they had 6 times the ticket volume. So in a month, their ticket volume, and what I mean by a ticket is interactions with you, with them as an organization, customer interactions. So 6 times the ticket volume in a month. They had to be really, really, really quick at responding to those needs, and they were able to connect their whole stack, make sure that they were solving customers' needs really quickly to then keep them in and keep them coming back. Great introduction to Limebike as well. Okay, if we're well above 1,000 customers and we're building and investing in the team and we're really going at scale now, it's time to really create the process and use the tools to drive productivity around it, right? Segmenting your users, segmenting issues and how you support them, building out the automations and the self-help, almost just batting away inquiries, no problem, because of all the data you've built up from all those interesting conversations that you've had, all those team meetings that you've had, and all of the insight that you've gathered through every customer interaction that you've had. That's when we can really create processes and tools which drive the productivity, which allow you to step out of the business and work on it rather than in it. and allows your team to really streamline what they're doing and continue to work building the business. Measuring performance, looking at those customer insights. This is second nature when you're above 1,000 customers. And then, practicing the empathy, adding in the empathy and good customer experiences, which obviously starts with that company culture. So when building out a team, investing in that team, you've got all the data points to prove to somebody that they should be coming to work for you. Happy culture, happy company culture, happy staff is always going to drive better profit. And I can give you 1,000 reasons for that, but I'm sure you are aware of them. Novo Bank, first kind of online, retail bank over in the States again. Interestingly, this is a Zendesk example. I don't normally go into Zendesk examples, but this is a Zendesk example. So they implemented, one of the guys joined who'd used Zendesk before in 2019. They had then implemented it in April 2019. And the average handling time went down of a ticket, of a customer interaction, from 9 minutes down to 7.3 minutes by August 2019. Happier customers, quick and seamless. Time to first response. So how quick were they to actually give that first response to a customer that's coming in? They were at 301 minutes down to 56 minutes. Small team as well at the time. And then that CSAT score, bear with me, I can't see underneath that. I'm pretty sure it goes to 91% though. So CSAT, the customer satisfaction score, looking at 73% back in the day, implementing the Zendesk stuff up to 91%. And again, I can't see the far right one, but I'm pretty sure that went up to 93% as they built out fantastic customer service. Chat, can you help me out there? Does it say 91 to 93?
The CSAT score is 93%.
Yes, right at the end, 93%. Perfect. Thank you so much. I just can't see it. It's happier customers, right? Automation, people getting in, helping themselves, getting out again. It's all about customer automation, making a customer happy again, them going out, talking about your product or service and you as an individual to other people, which is always going to retain better customers, retain more customers. And also, right at the beginning, we talked about that 1%, whether you're looking at attaining new customers or you retaining new customers. If you're retaining great customers and the CSAT scores going up, they become the people who are going to promote your attaining customers. And it almost takes the job out of your hands. If you've got happy customers talking about you, they're going to do your job for you. So we raise that level, raise the retention level of your customers, all raising profit and CSAT scores. So before we kind of go into some of the questions, and please do put questions in the chat if you have any, it'd be amazing to see. Accountability within this is absolutely key, right? So a few things that you can go and do straight away. Review customer KPIs with your leadership team. Seek insight from the front line. So if you're not actually involved in working with customers on the front line, go and have conversations with those people, because the amount of insight that they're gaining from every customer interaction is gold dust. It's so key to you and your roadmap of development and the way you go and the decision making within your organization. So go and review the KPIs with your leadership team and seek that insight from the front lines. Go and walk a mile in your customer's shoes. That's an interesting one. And when was the last time you actually bought something from yourself or went through your service journey? Or get somebody to go through that and tell you where it falls down or where they had problems interacting. So regular experience of the parts of your customer journey are really important. Holding yourself accountable for that customer journey will really help you to understand what you need to do next. And review the product-related communication to customers and from customers. So anything that's coming back product related, anything that's going out product related, make sure you're reviewing it all and making sure that it's actually core to functionality, it's helping the customer and feeding right back into your roadmap, your product roadmap development. We always love to focus on the highs of customer experience, right? Oh, I had a great review the other day. We always talk about it, right? But when we get the bad reviews and when we get the complaints, I would say that's a greater source of information and insight than anything good coming your way. Because what those complaints are an opportunity. It's an opportunity for you to tweak something, which is then going to be relevant to the customer that's been interacting with you. So always share that across the whole company, highs and lows, what's working well, what's not working well, so we can make some core decisions about where we go next. And you as founders and you as leaders need to model the great behavior and have a customer-centric mindset and focusing on the customers so everybody else sees it as really key and important. If you're putting that time into focus on the customers in the week, if you're looking at the front lines that are looking at that are directly involved with with the customers, then that kind of modeling of the behavior is going to stick within the organization and create fantastic company culture. So as we kind of draw to the end of this, I want to kind of draw out those key takeaways about turning your customer service center into a profit center. Retention is key. So focus your efforts here, because as we kind of came down the track there, we realized that if we really focus on retention, they become the people who are going to help you acquire customers and do almost a job for you. So focus the efforts there. Get forensic with your numbers. Insight. Any insight that you can gain from anywhere across your organization, use it wisely. Listen to it. It should be the driving force of everything that you do in your business. Meet your customers where they are. If they want to interact with you via Messenger, they want to interact with you over the phone, make sure you have the facility to do that and do it quickly. Build out your customer engagement strategy internally. So go and put that time aside in your diaries to focus in on customers. Make sure everybody's listening and can see the good things and the bad things about everything that you do within customer interactions. Build out that strategy internally. The time spent now on a strategy will really help you build out the great foundations for success and that big, nice hockey stick that we're looking to get out of your business. Build out the self-service now as well. You know, if you're having those customer interactions, frequently asked questions, just keep focused on it. Maybe during that weekly slot within customers, that customer time, you're just tweaking a couple of questions or you're adding to them. Build out that self-help as soon as you can, because already you have a rich source of data and information, even from starting a business. And just do it now. Start the journey now. I did say tomorrow earlier, actually, but you can start this now. I hope you've all put time in your diaries already to actually go and focus in on that customer service element. But yeah, absolutely. Focus in, start the journey now. I'll leave that up, but just to let you know, a lot of the stuff that I've talked about, you can get through Zendesk. Great. I'm not going to sit here and sell it for you, for me, but it's just, I want to be able to give you some insight into what we found from a CX point of view, which can really kind of stir up help and support that you need in your business to really drive your profit and everything that you do in between. So thank you so much for listening in. I'm going to have a quick look over at the questions, see if we've got anything else. Here we go. So is it more logical to test the standard strategies for retention to find the suitable one? Or is it better to generate and try unconventional new strategies? I guess my answer to that would be, you know, if it's not broken, don't fix it, right? So there might be standard strategies out there that work for you, but if you've got those standard strategies in play, then go and do some experiments with some not so conventional, some unconventional strategies and see what works. You know, if you iterate that and you find something that sticks, you're good. I would say that if you were to just stick with those standard strategies, then you might be missing out on a whole gold mine of opportunity. But always listen to your customers and always listen to what's working and what's not. Yeah, definitely. Thank you for your question. Metaverse started to be one of the constantly rising topics. Yeah. Startups started to use Metaverse for CX as well. Yeah. How do you see the effect of metaverse on customer experience? It's a really interesting question. I'm a big fan of the metaverse, and yes, it is all kind of going that way. And I think there's a lot that certainly from our point of view, we can do with the metaverse. I don't think it changes too much the way people want to be interacted with. You know, we're all still human. We all want to be, even our avatars, they're just an extension of us in the metaverse, right? So we still want to be interacted with in the right way. And customer service is not going to change. So the experience won't change. It'll just be your avatar experiencing it, not you. And you'll be able to kind of pick up things and turn them around in a retail shop and play with it. But there are already strategies within your CX that you can do with that. You know, there's a great, I can't remember the website, but there's one where you can try on sunglasses and you can pick them off the shelf already and just use your camera to actually put your sunglasses on and see what you look like on there. It's like looking in a mirror with a pair of sunglasses on, right? All of that kind of stuff's going to change. But the fact that I'm still going through a purchase, I'm acquiring a product, that's not going to change. So, yeah, it's an interesting question, and that's I don't think it's going to affect the way people want to be interacted with, that customer experience. I think it'll just be a different or a slight pivot in the journey towards acquisition of a product or a service that you want. Yeah, I hope that helps, Seema. I can't see any more coming in, Jan, but yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you for your time and the insightful talk and speech. And we are planning to continue with more webinars on FounderPath. So please stay tuned and also sign up on FounderPath if you already haven't done so, in order to connect with Jeremy personally and also get access to benefit packages offered by Zendesk on FounderPath in order to grow your business. Thank you for listening to us, and bye-bye.
Thanks so much, all.